In 1964, 100 acres of farmland was sold to Sherway Center Limited for plans to construct a new grand shopping mall at the intersections of two newly expanded freeways of Queen Elizabeth Way and Highway 427 outside of Toronto, Canada. It would not be until 1969 when ground was broken on the new $21.5 million project, which had faced harsh opposition from the Ontario government and nearby merchants. But in just 2 years, Canada's largest mall opened to great fanfare. Since that time, Sherway Gardens has maintained itself as not only one of the largest malls in the country, but also one of the most profitable, remaining on the forefront of shopping mall innovations, adding one of the first food courts in North America, winning design awards for new expansions, and even earning fame for appearing in several films, most notably the original Mean Girls. If you know Ruin Road, you know we value our privacy. But in our personal life, it's not always easy to maintain. Whether we know it or not, sites will mine our data like full name, email, health records, and more, which they will sell to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to snoop. That's why we started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on our behalf. This not only reduces the amount of spam you'll get, but protects against hackers who can use this information to gain access to our social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also provides a ton of other features bundled into one easy-to-use app at an affordable price. You get antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without needing to bother with different apps. We all have one or more of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know how often that happens. Like 24-hour security, motion sensors, and guard dogs, Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my info safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. Relaxing. Ruin Road values our privacy, and we also value yours. Go to aura.com/ruinroad to start a free 2-week trial, also linked below in the description. When the 850,000 square foot, 127 store mall opened its doors for the first time on February 24, 1971, 20,000 shoppers visited within the first 2 hours. Though it was only the second multi-floor mall in the Greater Toronto Area, Sherway Gardens was designed to feature low, intimate ceilings in its S-shaped design, with 4 indoor gardens spread throughout its concourse, in honor of the former plant nursery that occupied the land for almost 30 years. Each of the differently themed gardens were designed by famous landscape architect George Tanaka. The mall's grand opening was compared to the first day of the Canadian National Exhibition, minus the rides. Balloons, shopping bags, and roses were given to shoppers while hot air balloons, a police pipe band, choirs, and beauty queens greeted the estimated 100,000 shoppers that first day. Mall developers Rouse Company stated it was perhaps their smoothest opening ever, joking the only mechanical issue would hopefully be the cash registers overheating from all their use. Events continued into that summer, with a zoo, weekly concerts in the food court, folk music dances, various home demonstrations, and a special pool was constructed inside for diving shows, swimmer fashion shows, and aquatic archaeology exhibits.
For their first-year anniversary, ice shows, a carnival, limbo dancing competitions, and drawings for a vacation to the Bahamas or a brand new Chevrolet Vega were held. That summer featured antique car shows, putting greens in the concourse, and another aqua show, while the fall brought back a petting zoo, and November saw a specially constructed moving ski ramp that professional skiers performed shows for crowds on. By the time their second-year anniversary rolled around, Sherway Gardens was the most successful shopping center in all of North America, with its sales per square foot double that of the national average and almost triple to the United States. While other nearby malls had feared the new mall megalith would hurt them, they too publicized 1972 had been extremely successful, and Sherway announced they were planning a new expansion that would put them over 1 million square feet leasable space. One lucky shopper would win a Millionaire for a Day contest, receiving a cash prize of the amount of interest they would earn on $1 million in their bank account for one day, $3,000 in gifts, a chauffeured limousine, and a free trip for two to visit any country of their choosing in Europe. An annual promotion they continued on and off until 1988. This contest would see the mall win its first International Maxi Award for Promotional Excellence, the first mall in Canada to win such an award, which they continued to receive for the next few years, along with other honors, such as the Judy Award in 1973, the highest award one can receive in the Canadian fashion industry. That year, the mall announced it would be expanding already, and Phase 2 of this plan was completed in June 1975, which saw the S-shaped mall now turn into a figure 8, adding 210,000 square feet, 50 new stores, and 5 new food court tenants, including the first McDonald's to be located inside a mall in the country. Sherway Gardens continued to be the place to be in the following years, holding a near constant stream of events, pet shows, the Miss Toronto beauty pageant, antique shows, and concerts. In 1978, Rouse Company sold the mall to Canadian Life Assurance Company for an undisclosed price, at which time it was stated the mall saw 1.8 million shoppers per month. And during the holiday season, that number went as high as 18 million. The following year, when a porcupine gave birth at the mall during a traveling McDonaldland zoo exhibit, the baby was named Sherway in honor of its birthplace. The mall's tireless event schedule continued on into the 80s, featuring seasonal fashion shows, a cheerleading competition, and a visit by Mickey Mouse and the Mouseketeers, where one prize winner would receive a free trip or two to Orlando, Florida. The mall's Baskin-Robbins location brought an internationally renowned French designer Daniel Hector in to shoot a new 52 French flavor t-shirt billboard campaign for the company in March 1981, and the artist was given the first taste of a new ice cream flavor named in his honor. The Miss Chiquita contest of 1984 chose Sherway Gardens as their only non-American location for its semifinals. Contestants at each of the 9 mall locations were required to design their own cornucopia hat as well as answer a question about bananas. The overall winner going on to become the next spokeswoman for the brand and receive a $10,000 contract. 1 year later, a horrific accident occurred at the mall when a group of young boys managed to sneak inside the mall's trash compactor. While the other 2 pressed against the sides, a third would push the start button and then rush to join the others while the compactor went past. But when it was 11-year-old Anthony Allen's turn, he panicked and his friends watched as the machine crushed his lower half, the boy succumbing to his injuries 20 hours later. An inquest was launched that discovered that the machines could operate without a key that was supposed to be turned before they would begin crushing. Another expansion and renovation began in 1987, seeing another 22,000 square foot wing ending at the new anchor of Holt Renfrew. Shoppers were given roses as they entered the new wing, as Scottish Pipers, a choir, and fashion show were all scheduled for the grand opening, bringing the total stores up to 225. Named The Avenue, this new wing was devoted to upscale fashion, and Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney invited President Ronald Reagan to accompany him to the new Harry Rosen store here, where he shopped for all his suits. but the trip was canceled after security would have required the highways to be shut down. 2 years later, yet another southern wing expansion was completed, adding a new anchor of Bretton's, 40 shops, and updated food court, all underneath a unique $1 million tent canopy, said to be the size of a football field and strong enough to support a truck. A design which would win the Canadian Consulting Engineering Award of Merit that year. As with the previous decade, Sherway Gardens entered the 90s with a bang. That summer, the mall opened its doors for shopping on Sundays. The local Kiwanis Club held a fundraiser at the mall where they put Mayor Bruce Sinclair and other local celebrities inside a fake jail cell in the mall, allowing them the use of a phone to call and raise bail money for their release, which then went towards local charities. That year would also be the first that I found the mall was used as a filming location when an episode of Making Real Funny Home Videos was hosted here. It is erroneously reported online that a scene from the 1986 action thriller FX was shot in the mall, but it is actually the movie's 1991 sequel that was shot around Toronto and used the mall for a scene.
What's your problem? Leave off, he's got a gun.
Since then, Sherway Gardens has been no stranger to movie and television productions. Most notably, the original 2004 Mean Girls used the mall as a stand-in for the Old Orchard Mall outside of Chicago.
Being at Old Orchard Mall kind of reminded me of being home in Africa, by the watering hole.
The 2006 action movie The Sentinel filmed a shootout scene here. And in later years, locally shot television shows Rookie Blue and Impulse both have utilized the mall for scenes. Many celebrities have visited the mall on tours for books or products over the years, including Tom Jones, Michael Bolton, Tony Bennett, Jessica Simpson, Kim Kardashian, Jan Arden, Terry O'Reilly, James Duthie, and in 2003, singer Ricky Martin held an outdoor concert at the mall. Back to our timeline. As the mall entered into the new millennium, it helped fund a nearly $30 million nearby highway interchange development, stating it was the first step needed for further development to their mall. Just months later, Canada Life instead chose to list the mall for sale as part of a business plan to liquidate real estate assets. 3 months later, Sherway Gardens was purchased by Cadillac Fairview Corporation for an undisclosed price, though estimates on the mall's valuation reach as high as 30 million Canadian dollars. The mall continued to hold regular events, but in April 2001, a brutal murder in the parking lot would sweep headlines. Former middleweight boxing champion Eddie the Hurricane Mello had retired from boxing in 1986 and went on to become a mob enforcer. He was in the mall parking lot after going to a sports bar with a friend when both were executed by hitman Charles Gannet, who testified he was promised $75,000 for the contract. Another shooting occurred at the mall in 2003, when a man dressed in a UPS uniform gained access to the Symphony Diamond store and led his accomplice inside, where they robbed the store at gunpoint. After fleeing when they set off the security alarm, the store owner would give chase, and the robbers shot him in the shin before they successfully escaped. Despite these incidents, the mall was still regarded as a safe space, though in 2006, when a pair of Canadian geese laid their eggs in a planter in front of one of the entrances, chaos ensued. The mall stated they had no issues previous years with the geese laying eggs, but this year, the male goose was particularly protective, in one instance landing on top of an elderly woman's head while she waited to be picked up. People, too, decided Sherway Gardens might be a nice place to live, as that same year, development on the 32-story adjacent One Sherway condominium towers project started, adding a third tower in 2008. In 2012, CF announced they were beginning a 3-phase, $350 million renovation to the mall, adding 210,000 square feet of retail, 3-level parking garage, updating many of the mall anchors and concourse, and sadly removing all fountains and the original gourmet food court, instead adding a newer modernized food court. As malls across North America were drastically changing in these 5 years, so too had the plans. First, the project's cost skyrocketed to $550 million, while the mall saw the loss of its Sears and Holt Renfrew anchors, as well as Target withdrawing their planned anchor. Instead, the thriving mall pivoted to include more sit-down restaurants and even adding a car dealership inside. During the 2020 pandemic, they partnered with the city to utilize their empty parking lot as a drive-in movie theater. As Sherway Gardens approaches its 60th anniversary, it shows no signs of slowing down. Planning is already underway to continue building mixed-use towers around the entire shopping center, while $4.5 million was spent on infrastructure upgrades in 2024, continuing to cement this mall giant as one of the premier shopping destinations in the Greater Toronto Area.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.